Hi everyone. So in the last video, I went over the male hormone system, and this time I'm going to go over the female hormone system. So I'm going to show you guys two graphs, this one and this one. This one has a lot more condensed information. So to simplify it a little bit, I'm going to focus on this one. I apologize for it being a little blurry. I will rewrite it as we go, so for clarity. So first we have your hypothalamus, source of all homeostatic functions, right? Your hypothalamus is going to release GnRH, GnRH, which again stands for gonadotropin releasing hormone. And the gonadotropin releasing hormone is going to go to your anterior pituitary gland. Anterior pituitary gland. Once it goes to your anterior pituitary gland, it's going to stimulate the release of LH and FSH. Remember, LH stands for luteinizing hormone. I'm going to write that in orange. FSH stands for follicle stimulating hormone. And you can see how the diagram gives you really clear um, positive and negative simulation. So apologies. When GnRH stimulates the anterior pituitary gland, it's going to also stimulate LH and FSH. So LH is the main um, hormone responsible for stimulating the production of estrogen, estradiol, as the diagram says. I think estradiol and estrogen have some slight differences, but I don't want to get into that too much because I'm not too knowledgeable on that, and that's beyond the scope of brain facts. But progesterone, on the other hand, is actually the hormone that's tested in pregnancy tests, I believe. I'm gonna double check that. No, I apologize. That's beta HCG. I'm getting confused. But progesterone is the main hormone that basically allows the endometrial lining, which is the lining along the uterus, to keep building, right? So as you can see here, when there's a peak of progesterone, you can see the menses lining building as much as possible. Um, so then what happens is basically allows for a lining to build, and it also has a role in protecting pregnancies. So once your progesterone levels start to drop, um, notice how your LH and your FSH levels will peak right before ovulation. In other words, when right before your egg is released into the uterus, your LH and your FSH levels will start to peak. And why that's important is because when they start to peak, remember your LH and FSH are going to put negative feedback loops on your hypothalamus to stop the production of GnRH, which will basically stop this whole cycle from reoccurring until your egg basically, until your menstrual cycle finishes off, which is these 14 days over here, and until your menstrual lining is completely disposed of during your menstrual cycle. And then once your egg has basically become corpus albicans, which basically means that it's um, kind of it's lost its reproductive capability, it's kind of like dead now, um, then it will restart the production of GnRH, which will then start the cycle again. So one thing you need to know is that also LH, um, basically high levels of estrogen is going to cause the cycle to keep going and going and going until you have this estradiol peak. right? So until your estrogen kind of peaks in this place, it's going to keep causing it to go on, go on, go on, go on until ovulation occurs, and there's going to be a dramatic drop. So low levels would mean that estrogen is going to again stop the cycle right here, right before ovulation, so that it stops and your body has time to get rid of the lining before the cycle repeats again. So it's a very, very fine-tuned balance, but I also think it's really interesting how everything is so fine-tuned with each other. Um, this video requires as much visualization as possible, which is why I kind of just walked you through the diagrams instead of giving you more information. I want you guys to really look through it, take notes, and honestly redraw this diagram as many times as possible because this is actually pretty tested. Um, and it's really important for your own health, helps you understand what's going on in your body and on other people's body actually, and it kind of helps you understand like the changes that go on in your body, right? So for example, right before ovulation, your estrogen peaks, which is why you tend to be a lot more emotional during this time. Furthermore, you tend to be more fertile during this time because of estrogen. And it also kind of explains why during your menstrual cycle, like your progesterone peaks, and then how your body temperature kind of tends to rise when you're going through your menstrual cycle. Or sorry, not your menstrual cycle. My apologies. While your menses is bent, while your endometrium lining is building, your body temperature tends to be a little bit higher. And it just shows how fine-tuned everything is, how balanced it is, and it shows you kind of the ovarian cycle as well. So make sure that you guys are looking at this, really understanding what it means, and kind of seeing the diagram that's drawn here as well. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.